Well, good evening. Thank you, Stephanie. Thank you, everyone else. I wanted to just kind of bring people up to speed from the federal side. But first, I want to say how inspiring it is. I mean, the level of organization and mobilization you've shown in an extremely short period of time is truly inspiring. So thank everyone who's on screen and in person. Really inspiring. So I thought I would just give you the federal perspective up to date about bringing people here. And then I want to stay around as long as I can. I've got another meeting down the road tonight, but I will stay as long as I can to hear what's happening. So I will back things up quickly. I'll do a quick overview for those because there are so many people that weren't even here last week. So thank you. I was here last week and gave a bit of an overview, and Perry spoke so eloquently when I first logged in. So mid-January, we realized we were going to need some new immigration programs. That's how far back we started. So we started negotiating a safe passage for Canadian citizens and permanent residents with every country that borders on the west of the Ukraine. And we started putting additional resources. We went to Vienna, Bucharest, and Warsaw, set up dedicated websites, phone numbers. And the idea was to bring people back as soon as possible that were there already. And also people that we had to extend, the Ukrainians that were already in Canada. That was the first thing we did. Extend status for anybody who was temporary status, open work permits, study permits, individuals who are already here. So we started with that first. And now we're bringing Ukrainians into Canada. The first reaction was to set up, like Perry was mentioning, a refugee resettlement program, which it became very apparent that that was just not possible. It was going to take a lot longer than was necessary, that the need was there to bring people here a lot quicker. And also the next step was then, you've heard people talk about a visa-free travel. Why didn't we just set up a visa-free travel, which was a great question to ask, and that's how you come up with solutions. We looked into it. It would require some really big changes to IT systems with immigration, with our borders, with the Department of Transportation, even with the airlines sectors would have to coordinate the airlines changing their IT systems. It would have taken months to implement all of those systems. So that's why we chose not to do the visa-free travel. So the next step we did was to say, what program exists already? And there were two. One of them is a temporary residence program. That was what we chose to use to bring people over. The temporary residence program had a lot of boxes to check. What they were able to do, the fastest way to get people here safely, was to remove all of the requirements except one, which was biometrics. Biometrics is a fancy word for fingerprints and photos. And by removing all of the other requirements, we were able to say the existing software will work. We can sign people up. They just need to go, and we set up these biometric stations all across the border in other countries, and had people be able to get their biometrics done, and then they could apply for this temporary residency program. That's the program that you heard was launched, I believe, yesterday. Gosh, the days are blurring together, but that's what we did there. That was the very first program. The other program was called the Pathway to Permanent Residency Program. There is a large diaspora of Ukrainians here in Canada, the third outside of Ukraine and Russia itself. So there are many people, actually 9,000 people have come already to Canada from Ukraine. They came because they had family, friends, the pipeline to get here already. Most of them also had the resources to be supported when they got here. So up until now, we've had 9,000 people come. That was with the earlier system before we stripped it down and made this new program. So we've got 9,000 people here who have the help here, which is wonderful. The people that are coming next, as we opened this program yesterday, that program is going to open up, and it's going to basically open the floodgates because more and more people will be able to apply quickly. And it's going to happen. The process should be about a 2-week process. It should take about 2 weeks for people to sign up, from the sign up to get them here. So what you're doing is so incredibly valuable that now we have a bit of a time frame. In about 2 weeks, we're going to see the first influx of people who are coming from Ukraine. And these are the people who do not necessarily have family and friends here and have contacts with local or Canadian church organizations and grassroots. They're the ones that are going to need us. They are almost exclusively women and children, and maybe older generations of coming. These are the people that you're here, and we're here to talk about and how we can help. So I really appreciate it. That is it. I mean, that's about many weeks of programs all rolled up in a very short amount of time. I can tell you, as of yesterday now, we have now, let me see if I can back up and say, we've got the temporary residence program. It's actually it's in place, it's starting. We've set up extra, the biometrics are in Moldova, Romania, Austria, Poland, all throughout Europe, Warsaw, Vienna, Bucharest. They're all ready to receive people and send them here. One of the good things is when people come here, they're now also able to apply for an open work permit. Because one of the things we had heard was that by stripping away all of those ticks of boxes to get people here faster, they don't have refugee status. And the concern was without refugee status, you're going to lose the supports, the healthcare, the education, the supports that we're used to giving people who come as refugees. We knew that was going to be the case on paper, but we needed to work on that. So we are negotiating with the provinces, because a lot of those things, if you think about the things that start with O, they're Ontario, right? It's our OHIP and other services. We are negotiating with the provinces to make sure that those systems stay in place. So when people come, they're able to get the healthcare, they're able to get education. Right now, 3 provinces have signed on and agreed to do this: BC, Alberta, and Quebec. Of the 3 provinces that are signed on, we're working with our counterparts provincially and trying to make sure that that's accelerated. So when people come and we know the meter's running, we want to make sure we're there to help them. I've been in touch with my provincial counterpart here in Kitchener-Conestoga, and we're having conversations. We're just letting everybody know that we all want to help people. Just because on paper they don't have that doesn't mean it's not going to be there. We're working on those details, but in the meantime, people are signing up and are going to be on their way. So what people are able to get is an open work permit as they come as well. And that's something that would take forever to get. But now an open work permit will be available, and it's actually going to be, it was originally supposed to be a 2-year open work permit. Now it's going to be a 3-year open work permit. So people will stay here. A lot of people are coming here and saying, I'm going to stay until it's safe to come home. We don't know the numbers of the percentage, but by you welcoming them here, that's going to give them the chance. And by letting them say, oh, open work permit right away as soon as they get there, that's something that's fantastic that they'll be able to do. Also, as we're working out with the provinces, children will be able to go to school here. And think about how much that's going to mean for people to come here, able to work as soon as possible, as soon as they are comfortable to do so, and their kids can go to school with children here. That's what we're working on right now. So I will stick around as long as I can. I don't want to take up time because I would love to hear from you, but basically allowing people to work, to stay, to study, and to be here. It's us opening up our hearts and our homes. So we're working as fast as we can. It's almost like I said, building the airplane while you're flying it. So as you're putting things together, we're making sure we're bringing people up as fast as possible. And the organizations like Immigration Waterloo Region, YMCA, we're all coordinating. We're also talking at some national level if there's other national organizations we can coordinate with. I can't give any more details of that, but we're getting close to making sure that everything falls in line. So, but ultimately it comes down to the grassroots. It comes down to you here. So I will stick around absolutely as long as I can to hear from you, and let me know whatever I can do. If I blew past things fast, there are phone numbers and resources and websites, anything I can do to share, I'd be happy to do so, but mostly I'm here for you. So thank you.
Definitely my heart goes out for the speaker's comments. They are absolutely real war situations, unfortunately. I have lived and walked the walk of war and refugee, so I do know how hard and tough that is. Unfortunately, to Tim's point, the government of Canada is doing its best to bring people, but those people have to be outside of Ukraine. When the war happens in any part of the world, there are only specific worldwide known organizations that can be in those war zone areas. One thing that around people in town, it's heartbreaking to hear some of those messages. We are all working hard and doing our best to promote, compassion, and our community has been showing a long history of compassion and help. It's mind-boggling to see, what is happening, and some of those examples this lady shared. I would say definitely calling the police, helping, supporting one another, promoting peacefully compassion and help for the Ukrainian. One thing people can do, if you know individuals living in Ukraine and you want to bring them here, start forming a group of 5 sponsorship committees. So any group of 5 individuals who are working here, there are some terms and conditions. You can get together, you can work with your churches and sponsor refugee families, individuals you are aware of their situation in Ukraine, help them. But the message that you want to send out to people inside Ukraine, in order to be able to come to Canada, they first need to leave Ukraine. Unfortunately, they cannot, like, it's very much difficult, as Tim explained, why the federal government was taking all of these measures. The process is difficult, it's daunting, it's not as easy as packing up and coming to a country you choose to come. Even when people go through United Nations, it takes time, and they are distributed according to different measures. So if you are connected with someone, if you know someone, try to coach them and work with one of the settlement agencies, being YMCA of Three Rivers or KW Multicultural Center, Compass Agency, Mennonite Central Committee previously. Our settlement workers are experienced in supporting sponsorship groups and helping with sponsorship applications for individuals and for groups actually who are sponsoring refugees to come to Canada. But unfortunately, the horrific situations that has been described from here, we have some of those cases, we have limited to zero control over what is happening.
So I'll try and go quickly through just a couple reminders, really kind of broad context. My name is Dan Vanderbilt. I work with the Immigration Partnership in Waterloo region, and we don't work with newcomers directly, but work with all the groups that do work with newcomers. And so different sectors, stakeholders, partners, and saying, how do we do settlement better by working together? And so that's really our focus. We have created a information page kind of at a community level about Ukraine. So it's www.immigrationwaterlooregion.ca/Ukraine. And that's a good source of the most current information about the Ukrainian response locally, where you can help out beyond these grassroots efforts in this group. So check out that page. In terms of kind of updates, from what I've heard so far, we're not, and as Tim had pointed out, we don't have a ton of people coming yet. And we're in a kind of a waiting and preparing stage. And so unfortunately, that does mean that we need to have patience. And especially because there's some things that we don't have the information about. As Tim pointed out, that we don't know about OHIP, about Ontario Works, about some of these things which are really critical and will make a big difference for what we, like, where are the gaps and where do we need to take action. And so there's some areas where we can go like gangbusters, and other areas where we need to kind of slow and steady and wait and take a more paced approach. So just being aware of that. And then the second thing I want to emphasize is the need to work with existing systems in the Ukrainian community. I kind of envision it like 3 gears. And when those gears are working well, it's a well-oiled machine. When they don't work well, they start to squeak, they crunch, and the machine ultimately falls apart. And so we need to work at those gears. And so I see the 3 gears as the first gear is the Ukrainian-speaking community. And probably they will be the first point of contact for many people who come from Ukraine. They speak the language, they have that, they want to make those connections. And so they will be hugely important for newcomers. And we don't want to overwhelm them. And so the key question is, how do we as a community support that community well? The second gear is the existing settlement and community programs. And they've been doing a lot of these programs and supports for decades. A lot of the things that we're talking about here, they've been doing day in and day out. You know, each wave is slightly different. We helped well over 1,000 Syrian refugees back in 2016, 16 largely, several hundred Afghan refugees over the past year, and tens of thousands of newcomers from other countries day in, day out. So there's a lot of supports that are working well, but when there's large waves, there are areas where groups of volunteers can kind of step in and provide that support, and to do that well. And so that's the third gear, these grassroots efforts, where it's so critical to have that energy and that passion and that extra legwork. But when those three gears are working together, then the machinery works well. And so just that encouragement to make sure that whatever we're doing, we're supporting the Ukrainian speaking community, we're working with existing services, and we're capitalizing on that amazing passion and energy and new connections that these grassroots efforts bring in to make that machine work. And then maybe just one last comment about equity. While we focus on Ukraine, there are other newcomers coming in all the time from many, many different countries. And so if there are things that, if you don't find a good match for supporting the efforts here, there's lots of other things, areas where you could get involved. So the YMCA, Immigrant Services, the Multicultural Center, Compass Refugee Center, Reception House, doing some really exciting things. So yeah, find your place and let's work together.
Hi, good evening to everyone, and thanks Stephanie and Melanie for having me tonight. My name is Juan Castillo, and I am a intake coordinator and settlement worker at the KW Multicultural Center in Kitchener, Ontario. Our basic function in our institution is settlement services. As it was mentioned earlier this evening, we do provide one-on-one services to individuals who are looking for information about anything really when it comes down to settle in Kitchener or the region of Waterloo. That encompasses housing, healthcare, English classes, how to navigate the transportation system, how to enroll kids in summer school and different activities such as childcare and other situations that our clients are looking to get information. We have been gathering a lot of calls from different members in our community looking for information about how they can bring individuals, family members from Ukraine or in the neighborhood, in the countries around the Ukraine to Canada. And one of the limitations that we've seen so far is due to our funding capacity, we are not able to fully help individuals complete the visa applications or the applications for work permits. I was just advised by our general manager, Ana Luz Martinez from the settlement department, that they're slowly trying to get information about how the federal government is going to try to alleviate some of those barriers so that we can assist people better. So far, what we've been able to do is to transfer the information that is available under the IRCC website and pass that on to family members in the region. We are also in brainstorming some group activities where we can provide information about the Canada-Ukraine temporary program. And there is also another group of 5 information session on April the 12th. So we also welcome members of the community and clients and everyone who's looking for any kind of information related to immigration or services to reach to us so we can plan a group activity through one of our partners at a local library. And yeah, that's basically it from my end. Again, we're trying hard to provide information and accurate information to as many people as we can.